Ooh, copper. Diamonds. With the growing popularity of Siege, a new influx of players have come into the game, looking to compete at a higher level. With a huge learning curve, it can be quite difficult to learn the fundamentals and find yourself in a rank higher than copper, bronze, or silver. When I first started the game, I was a really bad bronze. I watched a lot of YouTube videos from some of Siege's biggest content creators. Unfortunately, that only taught me some tricks and tips outside of my skill level. It took me a lot of hours of grinding to finally have an understanding of the fundamentals of the game. In this video, I hope I can take you from how I played in this clip to hopefully achieving high gold or platinum levels. The ranking system for Siege is broken up into copper, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and diamond as of Operation Phantom Sight. The majority of the player base finds themselves in gold 4 or below. Ideally, I'd like to see new players be able to push past the gold 4 level. I've already done enough of an introduction, so let's get into the tips I know you're here for. I'll split the tips up between attack and defense. We'll start on attack first. The first and most important tip I can give to any new player is to start aiming head level. Anytime I run a T-Hunt to warm up, the only thing I focus on is my crosshair placement. You don't need great reactions or the world's best aim to be talented at this game. Obviously, the higher level of play you go, the better those mechanical skills will need to be. Having the ability to keep your crosshair at head level will increase your chances of getting that one-shot headshot exponentially. If you're aiming at the chest or lower, you'll only be hitting body shots, which presents a much higher time to kill, especially with 3 armor defenders wearing rook plates. In my opinion, some of the easiest operators to use on attack are Ash, Sledge, IQ, Thatcher, and Thermite. These ops have relatively easy recoil and can benefit your team with their gadgets. As a Twitch main, it pains me to say I would not recommend her to new players, as the recoil of her F2 can be quite unwieldy. Same with Buck and Capitao. Other operators have gadgets that are more difficult to use effectively being the key word, such as Lion, Maverick, Dokkaebi, and Glass. If you try out the operators I mentioned earlier, you may find one that you love. In addition to aiming head level, the next piece of advice new players could use is gaining intel, specifically on attack. This means using your drone to locate traps and enemies. I highly recommend hiding your initial drone at your expected point of entry. This comes with time and map knowledge to know where the best place to enter is. If you use your drone effectively, you can either get a wall bang or the jump on your opponent. I'll roll a couple of clips of me using my drone to get a free kill.
Starting shotgun.
Buck, I would shoot you rocket shield.
4 last operator standing.
I just want a grill.
Dude.
You found
Makeup and animations.
That is literally though, like they wasted development time. Like, well, you're getting the same guns, but at least they have new reload ammo.
Yes. Oh, right there.
one op 4 remaining.
Dude, I love doing that. Just
Making people TK.
no wall banging people. As you can see, the enemies had no idea I was there, and I was able to kill them before they could even react. A big part of using intel is using what is called Peeker's Advantage. In Siege, Peeker's Advantage is the time you see someone before they can see you during a peek, due to ping. If your ping is 60 milliseconds, you have that time to peek before your opponent can see you, and if their ping is also 60 milliseconds, then there is another 60 milliseconds before they can react to seeing you. This means your peek has 120 milliseconds of advantage to your opponent. Using this to your advantage can grant you kills, even if your opponent is a better aimer or has better reactions. I've spent a lot of time discussing how to kill your opponent, but let's not forget that Siege is an objective-based game. I'll only be discussing the bomb game mode as that currently is the only ranked mode. Playing objectively in bomb comes down to 3 important things: execution, plant, and post-plant. Let's begin with execution. When you have control of one or both bomb sites, you have the ideal situation to plant the diffuser. There are multiple ways to plant and avoid plant denial operators like Mira, Smoke, Maestro, Echo, Pulse, and a few others. You can have IQ clear out electronics or Ying to blind enemies. The example that I'm going to show in this video is using Smoke to cover the plant, giving the planter a sense of safety. The plant time will be rising up to 7 seconds in Operation Ember Rise. This means being safe for the plant is a must. Using cover of indestructible items and protecting the planter by having your teammates hold angles are a requirement. Once a plant has gone down successfully, it is of the utmost importance to prevent the defenders from retaking the site and defusing the diffuser. Yeah, I know that sounds awful. The best way to do this is by positioning the plant in an area that can be covered from multiple angles. I recommend having a player outside holding from a window if the site permits, having a player hold the most common route for the defenders to come back to site, and if you have enough teammates alive, have vertical control and a roam hunter. Let's switch over to defense. On defense, there are two main types of operators, anchors and roamers. An anchor is generally a higher armor operator, and is either expected to deny the plant or hold down the site while fragging out. Examples of anchors are Rook, Mira, Doc, Maestro, and Echo. On the other hand, you have roamers. They're a whole nother breed. They're generally 2 and 3 speed operators that try to secure entry frags against the enemy team, upsetting the balance of the attackers. I don't personally recommend new players try to roam, as there's less protection and a lot of map knowledge is required. A few examples of good roamers include Caveira, Ella, Jaeger, and Vigil. There are a few operators, however, that don't fit in the mold of anchor or roamer, as they can really do either. Most of the time, these are your intel operators, like Valk or Mozzie. Personally, Valk is my favorite operator in the game, as she provides intel and the ability to outplay your opponent. Using intel on defense is just as important as it is on attack, if not more important, to know where and how your opponents will strike. Some good intel operators include, obviously, Valk and Mozzie, but Echo, Legion, he's kind of a surprise operator as his Legion goo mines can actually give away the position of the enemy, and Maestro, as his evil eyes give a lot of intel. When playing on defense, it's important to know when to hold angles and when to be aggressive. If you're in a position where you know where your opponent is coming from, it can be useful to hold the angle and shoot them before they enter the site. This is most effective as an anchor. It's really important to remember that you are subject to peeker's advantage if the attacker is peeking you. In this clip that I'm showing right now, almost all the attackers peeked into me, and I was holding an angle that I knew they would come from, allowing me to kill them. In a future episode, I'll go ahead and talk more about how to anchor and also how to roam, so you'll be able to know when to hold and when to be aggressive more often.
C4 deployed.
When it comes to being aggressive on defense, it's much more situational. In the clip, I knew there was a glass, and I heard the smoke grenade get thrown. I know most glass players peek before the smoke had gone off, so I used this opportunity to peek him and get a free kill. Later I heard Zofia on rappel, so I attempted to kill her with my C4, which I would have had I not messed up my throw. Instead of letting this mess with me, I knew that someone would be holding the door, as there almost always is. In most cases, if a player sees an explosion, like my C4 going off, they're going to look at that briefly, which gave me the opportunity to peek the nook and kill her. Just as we discussed on attack, planting is a huge part of the game plan for defense. If you play on defense and you know a plant is coming, denying the plant can save your team the round. This can come in the form of an Echo Yokai denial, smoke canister, evil eye, or even a C4 from below. Another tactic can include holding the diffuser if it's dropped by the enemy team, like in the video playing. Another tactic can be running out of the time, like in this video. Once I realized that IQ had no time to plant, especially when she'd have to walk through all my goos, I realized it was time to run away to make sure that she couldn't kill me. The final aspect of defense to be covered is the post-plant scenario. Your opponents put down the diffuser. The best way to ensure you can retake the site is by being able to refrag teammates. This means when a teammate peeks and dies, you should be in a position to kill the person that killed them. This requires coordination and communication to let your teammates know where the person is. The most effective retake strategy is to clear top control if there is any, and then clear the site afterwards. Let's recap what we've learned today. On attack, try out some of the easy operators to help your team. Consider your crosshair placement to get at head level. Also use peeker's advantage when you're trying to peek an opponent. Gather intel to earn free kills, and then work with teammates to execute a plant and take advantageous positions for a post plant. On defense, we learned the difference between an anchor and a roamer. We also learned the situations where it can be advantageous to hold an angle or peek aggressively. Using intel operators on defense is the best tool in a defender's arsenal. Don't forget about plant denial operators that can save you a round. Finally, remember that working with your team is the most effective way to retake a site after a plant. In future episodes, I'll be discussing how to play certain operators and try to break down how to play the maps in the ranked pool. The rest of the video is just going to be clips of things that you'll learn with hours of gameplay. Thank you so much for watching, and please like and subscribe. Drop some comments below for ideas that you think I should cover in future videos.
Oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah, up there, that's where I go.
Reloading!
Jeez.
That was disgusting.
What?
The diffuser has been recovered. The diffuser is now secured.
Ah,
You have located a bomb.
Oh my gosh, this guy's mad.
God. I hear one to my left.
Oh,
Camera feed up and running.
oh, we got two.